So today we're starting a new series of exercises designed specifically for intermediate jazz piano players. We're going to take a very focused approach, one key per week. That means we're not rushing through material, we're really living inside of each key and learning how it sounds, how it moves, and how it feels underneath the hands. This is a very musical, beautiful sounding exercise, but it's also doing a lot of heavy lifting beneath the surface. You'll be working on jazz voicings, functional harmonic progressions, chord-scale relationships, and ear training all at the same time. So even though it feels like you're just playing music, you're actually absorbing a huge amount of jazz language in a very natural way. At the first level, we're just going to play something like this. This already gives you a strong sense of the harmony and the movement in the key. It's simple, it's clear, and it sounds musical right away. Then at the second level, we take the exact same framework and start adding chord scales on top of it. This is where the exercise really opens up. You're no longer just playing shapes, you're connecting harmony to scales and scales to sound. So now you're training your hands, your ears, and your understanding of how jazz harmony actually behaves in real music. And the best part is that both levels are based on this same material, so nothing feels disconnected or random. Now there's one very important idea that I want you to understand before we go any further. Chords and scales are the same thing. You'll see a lot of YouTube videos arguing about whether you should or shouldn't play scales when you improvise. But that debate is mostly missing the point. A chord is simply a scale played simultaneously in thirds. That's it. There's no mystery there. When you play a scale horizontally, you hear it as a line. When you stack those same notes vertically in thirds, you hear it as a chord. Same notes, just a different presentation. So when we talk about adding chord scales in this exercise, we're not introducing something new. We're just unfolding the harmony that's already there. And once you really internalize that idea, a lot of confusion around jazz harmony and improvisation starts to disappear. Harmonically, this exercise is built on a 2-5-1. And at the end, we add a 5-7 of 2 to loop it back to the beginning. So the progression is 2, 5, 1, 5 of 2. In C major, that's D minor 7 to G7 to C major 7, followed by A7. And that A7 pulls us right back to D minor 7, so the whole thing loops pretty naturally. Also, in this exercise, we're exploring 4 different versions of the 5 chord. A regular G7, a G7 augmented, a G7 flat 9 with a natural 13, and a G7 altered, which we'll actually treat as its tritone sub D flat 7 sharp 11. This lets you hear and feel how different dominant colors resolve over the same progression. I want you to think of every chord as a chord scale. So for G7, we pair it with G Mixolydian. That gives us the 9th and the 13th, A and E. You're not adding random notes, you're simply extending the harmony. In Mixolydian, you can try adding the major 7 passing tone to turn it into a dominant bebop. For the G7 sharp 5, we're going to use the whole tone scale. For G7 flat 9 with the natural 13, we're going to pair it with the half-whole diminished scale. And for D flat 7 sharp 11, we're going to use the G altered scale. It's important to understand that G altered and D flat Lydian flat 7 contain the same exact notes. They're actually both modes of melodic minor. That's why D flat Lydian flat 7 works so well for tritone substitutions. It's the altered dominant sound heard from the other side of the tritone. So on the first pass, just play the chords straight. Now on the A7, we can always use the flat 9, B flat, because we're resolving to a minor chord, D minor 7. So you can think of the A7 with a natural 9 and then lower it to the flat 9. Listen to how that immediately strengthens the pull to D minor 7. That single note change makes the dominant sound much more convincing. And then on the second pass, add the chord scales for each chord like this. And don't worry too much about counting beats exactly. This is more of an ear training exercise. Don't overload your bandwidth trying to make everything perfectly in time. Play freely and really listen. Listen to the voicings, the different tensions, and how each chord scale fits naturally inside of the chord. That awareness is the real goal of this exercise. And finally, in the third pass, improvise over the dominant chords using notes from the current chord scale. Be creative and picture each chord now as a set of notes that you have to pick and choose from when creating your lines. See if you can hear how a line is going to sound before you play it also. And that's it. Play this progression over and over again until you can really hear everything. Next week, we'll do the same exact exercise in the key of F major. You can get the PDF on Patreon or mDecks.com. If you want the complete 12-week program, you can get Jazz Piano Workouts Intermediate Volume 1. It includes the workouts in all keys, extra challenges for each key, the chord scales in all keys, and a demo video for every workout, so you can hear and see exactly how each key should sound. And of course, we'll be adding these tutorials to the dedicated playlist for the book, so you can follow along step by step.